The best cabinet, the best game debate continues. We've covered some of my favorites. We all know that X-Men is the world's greatest. The online capability, the cabinet style, and of course, yes, more beat 'em ups. Originally started with Turtles and then Golden Axe, Death Adder. Two great beat 'em up cabinets. The best games on one single arcade cabinet from Arcade1Up. It's a retro gaming Arcade1Up video. Welcome to today's video as of recording of this Monday, July 28th, 2025. I've almost had this cabinet for 3 years. I wanted to go with a fitting Back to the Future mug because we are going back to the retro gaming. Here is my favorite games list for any Arcade1Up, any home arcade cabinet we got to date. It's going to take something huge for me to change my mind no matter what comes out after this from a different company than my Shinku Hadouken Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo cabinet. I feel has the best games out of all these cabs that I have. I've focused on a lot of the shapes, kind of the reasons why I like this game, that game, but I've never really focused on the 14 games. I'm not going to cover all 14, but I'll cover a good portion of them. Here's my reasons why this is the best games list that we ever got from Arcade1Up. It's a great cabinet, and as soon as I caught wind of this on the Super Game Room dudes, I had to get it. I've done a lot of visuals off of this cabinet. One of my favorite cabinets, getting into my childhood about the whole globe, being at my grandparents' house. But when I say all the best games on one, I want to cover the games. I want to focus more on the games instead of just the visuals. Just, why I think this is one of the best cabinets. Why I think this has the best games out of any Arcade1Up. Of course, you got to be a beat 'em up fan. But I will say that the control deck, one of the first of its kind. This came out slightly after the Killer Instinct, so you finally got that slanted deck. Came out. It's just a better feel. Also, the MK30th cab, same outline, same build. The Yoga Flame, and then Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and so on. So we got this style off of a lot of cabinets, but I believe this one was the first, along with the Yoga Flame. And actually, since I've had this for, I believe 2022 it came out. The sticks, I played this a lot. This is one of the cabinets where I've played a ton, and they feel great. They, for being stock, the buttons always the same, but they did a good job. I'm usually playing on this side. Impossible for two, adults to kind of be shoulder to shoulder here, but for the most part, playing online, it's perfect. And the stick really held in. Let's start out with the games, and this was again one of the first of its kind, giving us 14 instead of 12 games. The headline game is Street Fighter 2 Turbo, but mind you, this is a beat 'em up cabinet, and I'm going to get to that. Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, which I guess if we went to the Yoga Flame, I think that this would be the Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, and then this being the Shinku Hadouken would be the Street Fighter 2 Turbo. So I believe that the Yoga Flame would be the Hyper Fighting. I didn't have that cabinet because I went with this one. Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, which is your big blue, which is your HS5 Deluxe. And I believe the original Street Fighter 2 that came out with the 3 games. So I think this was the look of one of the OG Arcade1Ups. A game that gets absolutely no play is the Street Fighter 2 Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo Puzzle. Am I saying that right? Puzzle Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Never play this. Pro Gear, a nice shoot 'em up. We'll cover Pro Gear. We'll cover Giga Wing, another game very similar to these two, and then we get into the start of the beat 'em ups, Battle Circuit, Captain Commando, Armored Warriors, Strider, which not necessarily a beat 'em up, but they threw it on here. It's a bonus game as far as I'm concerned. Final Fight, the King of Dragons, and Saturday Night Slam Masters. And the best part is, well, forget one, Capcom Sports Club, they all, for the most part, play online, except for games like Strider, but playing Final Fight, playing King of Dragons, Armored Warriors, and Captain Commando, the beat-em-ups, are all online. And it's nice having the local game or the online game, and the best part with Capcom is if you decide to do online, you can create a room, and you could join. We could watch if there was a match going on right now, or we could pick, okay, let's go room 6 and actually put in a passcode that only your friend would know. Also, it is nice that they show you a little bit of the moves. Also, it is on your control deck. You can see that there are, you know, the punching, the kicking, and just kind of a little refresher here. So if you've been watching the channel, you know that fighting is not really my forte, but I do want to show the headline game on here. And going back to my first Street Fighter II cabinet was the Street Fighter II Legacy, and it had a lot of the beat-em-ups, mostly Final Fight. And when this came out, the reason I wanted to get it was not only did it have more beat-em-ups, but they were online. And that's why I parted with my Street Fighter II Legacy shortly after I got this cabinet. Pro Gear comes both online and local. 2 players online, 2 players local. It's a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up game, collecting different ammo here, different ways to blow up pretty much everything on screen. There's really nothing you can do wrong here. Just kind of fire at will. Haven't seen a lot of these, you know, in arcades we visited, but I've come across a Pro Gear, and I've come across the next shoot 'em up game to follow this one. Giga Wing, completely opposite. You're going basically up, forward the entire time, and just, you know, it's cool that they gave us 2 completely different shooters, because I think, you know, some people prefer the side scroller, some people prefer going forward. I kind of like this view, but again, it's a good variety. That's why this cabinet, we haven't even got to the real games, my favorites, which are this isn't a real game, but my beat 'em ups. One of the best. I mean, the game lineup on here, I don't know if there's an arcade 1-up stock that has a better variety of games. Now, it's not one of my favorites, but it is, it's a beat 'em up. The thing that I don't like about this game is you're kind of designated to this one area right here. Like, you know, a lot of games you can kind of have a little bit more freedom, but it's almost like a versus game, kind of like a one-on-one until you get past somebody, and then it allows you to either have to deal with more enemies or to go forward. Reminds me of those old console days of just playing, you know, games on the NES and then being allowed to go forward. I've been playing a lot of online with this game. It is 2-player. Everything on here is 2-player. No matter what the original arcade ROM was, it only allows you to play 2-player, which is the one knock that I will have on the games on here. But as far as the games, the best variety. It's just I wish that, like, this is a 4-player game. I wish that it would allow you to be able to play 4 players online. Let's get that hamburger. Captain Commando, another one, having 4 different characters, and we could pick any one of them, and then player 2 could, you know, could pick any that you haven't selected, but it's only 2-player. And this is always kind of an argument of Captain Commando's a 3-player game or it's a 2-player game. I swear it's possible to play 4 players on other systems, but for right now, I'm gonna commit that Captain Commando is a 2-player game because that's how we can play on the arcade 1-up. But this is the only way, besides the HS5 Deluxe, because I believe that those 14 games are exactly the same as both this and the Yoga Flame. It's the only way to play Captain Commando online. And actually, the only other arcade one-up that has Captain Commando is the Street Fighter II Partycade. And that's just the one player. Never get in there. Yeah, you have a little bit more freedom on a game like Captain Commando versus Battle Circuit. I think Mac the Knife might be my favorite character. This boss kind of reminds me of a guy you'd see in The Punisher. There we go. It's funny because when I first got this cabinet, I early in doing videos for YouTube, or doing YouTube videos, I played a whole playthrough on this. This is a very long game, and if you're not playing online with someone, it just seems like it takes forever. Like it's a good 55 minute, playthrough. But it's been a long time. When I first got this cabinet, there was obviously a lot more people online, and I believe it might have been the username Trailblazer. Every night, I'd get home from work and I'd okay, I'm gonna play this game. Like, I was so stoked to have this. This is one of the most played arcade one-ups I have, and we would play through games every night, at 1 to 2 games a night, for a few weeks, and then kind of dies off. Plus, at the time, arcade one-up made so many cabinets that it's hard to kind of keep up. But yeah, you can just kind of keep building and building, and every boss you fight is just another upgraded robot, kind of like an armored warrior like yourself, and eventually you take out the boss, and that you can complete the game. But it reminds me of like the length of Battletoads. Like, Battletoads is a very long game, so is Armored Warriors, but it's a lot of fun, especially when you're playing online with someone. Is that gold? Kind of a real time on how long does it take to beat a boss. He's got his henchmen. Of course, I got to continue. And it lets you choose any player. The same with Captain Commando, as you could, I'm sure Battle Circuit too, that the more you continue, you can swap out any character you want and kind of get a good feel on which one is your favorite. Yeah, he's about to go down. Strider's a tough game. I gotta tell you though, just doing this game review video, like why I think it's the best variety cabinet. It's hard to stop playing. It's hard, you kind of get into it. I was getting into Armored Warriors. I was getting into Battle Circuit, Captain Commando. Unfortunately, it's hard for me to get into Strider because it is, it's a bad example. It's a skill game, so it's not just destroy everything on the screen. Like, you got to make jumps. You gotta survive, or you're gonna have to start over. Yeah, I gotta make that jump. Whoop, nope. I guess not. Now it's like, can I just make the jump? I didn't expect him to do a cartwheel. I'm afraid to even try it. Here we go. Oh, you know what? Right when I wanna jump, somebody comes up and then it kind of like forces you to attack. I mean, that was the issue. Jeez. Now, Final Fight, one of the reasons, there's two reasons. Because I did have Final Fight on my Street Fighter II Legacy cabinet, is having this online and having King of Dragons online. So those two are by far my favorite games on this cabinet. But as you can see, like any of the beat 'em up, you just start getting into it. Armored Warriors, even Strider. Like you get into a roll with Strider, it's hard to quit. It's hard to stop playing. It's like when you're playing basketball and you're just shooting hoops in the driveway, and you're making more than you're missing. It's hard to stop. I mean, this is one of the best beat 'em up games. It's just so fun to play. I remember the first time I played it was at like a family diner, and you'd always see like, you know, the track mode going. It was always Mike Hager, and yeah, it brings back a lot of memories. It's a good argument of, even though Streets of Rage 2 isn't like an arcade port, it's hard to pick, you know, between Streets of Rage 2 and Final Fight, which one, you know, which is a better beat 'em up. And I mean, it is like right down the middle. There's a part of me that just favors Streets of Rage 2 just because I had it for Genesis. I played it more as a kid than Final Fight, but Final Fight is it's a good game. I used to think it was a 3-player, it's a 2. So it's true on not only the arcade one-up, but if you're in front of an actual, you know, one of those real arcade cabinets. For the most part, going through the stages, the boss shows up pretty quick. But we can't stop until we just kind of take him out. This is the guy in the beginning who, I believe her name is Jessica, kidnaps Jessica, and then it's from there on, it's going through the rest of the bosses. But yeah, we kind of just take care of him right away. He's going to call for a little backup. But yeah, the guys in the yellow remind me of the Streets of Rage 2, and there's so many similarities in this game. Especially not him, but if we changed it, kind of reminds you of Axel, doesn't it, Cody? King of Dragons, one of my favorites. It's just, this game is so much fun to play, and you know, it's going to be hard for me to, you know, just to play through a little bit and then to stop, because it is, look, so here's what I don't like, is they're showing you 3 players right now, and you can only play 2. So actually all 4, is it 4 or 3? I think it's a 3-player. 3-player, and you can only play 2. So my one gripe with this, and I always say this from the beginning, is they only made it 2-player, and if you're going to have this online, why couldn't it be true to the port? Like, it would have been that much harder, that big of a deal, to make it 3-player. Usually go with the fighter. The wizard has been one of my go-tos, but I'll go with the fighter for this video. This was the first character that I would play. I'd always select him and play through, but now I usually go with the wizard. It's cool because you have that range where you can kind of fire at the enemy, but you can always change throughout the game. You don't have to stick with the same character. Capcom has some great, fun games. Knights of the Round, King of Dragons. I actually wish that Knights of the Round would have been on here. Like, if they could, it probably would have been perfect. A perfect cabinet, despite the fact that they can't, you don't have the 3 players on here if you were online. But if they would have put Knights of the Round on here, you couldn't argue the fact that this is by far Arcade1Up's best 3/4 scale home arcade cabinet, whatever you want to call it. It would be their best. Also, what's nice with King of Dragons along with Knights of the Round is you have that kind of bonus play like what you have in X-Men, where you can just eliminate everything on the screen. But actually, no. Okay, I guess I'm this character until it does give you a chance to switch players in between like so many levels. Then you can change. But as far as when you're in the gameplay, you are stuck with the same character. I forgot that. I probably played this one more than any other game on this cabinet. So right here, we could go to the wizard. So it is cool at the end of stages, you can change. So it is nice having that range. So you can see why picking the wizard, he is a bonus character. And of course, so the further you play, just like Knights of the Round, your character builds up. You get to more levels, up to the 12, 13 levels, and then pretty much eliminate everything on the screen a lot easier. Only thing that stinks is if you want to keep playing, you beat the game, you have to start over. And I don't understand that. With games on Konami, when you play through, if you have lives, it's continuous, so you can keep playing. So it's a shame that when you do get to the top level, even if you continue, you're gonna restart the game. You have to start back to level 1. It always gets me when the floor drops out on you. Right here, it's like what's happening? Like, I remember the first time playing this, like what is going on here? And just to honor the Hulkster, just kind of has that look. Saturday Night Slam Masters, a game that I don't play a lot, but we'll show a little footage here. See if we can find. It kind of looks like staying back in the early WCW days. There's Mike Hager. Let's go with Mike Hager. It's cool that Mike Hager is in this game. 3 buttons. There is attack, jump, and pin. So here's the attack. It's the jump, and if we pin, we'll try to pin. So there's a wrestling game on what I call what's Arcade1Up's best cabinet, as far as just their Sega themed Golden Axe, Revenge of Death Adder. Game wise though, this one tops it out. Now he's gonna pin me. Nope. How do you stop that? How do you stop the kind of the tornado move coming at it? There we go. Nope. There we go. You got out of that pretty quick. Oh, he's kicking my butt. Kind of committed here. think I can do it here. Here we go. Pin. Well, let me know what you think of the Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Even if you have the Shin Kudoken, it's the same, or the HS5. The game lineups on here beat out any arcade one up, in my opinion. I think it's just, they're the best games. You know, not my favorite games, but the best games on a cabinet. I want to thank everybody for watching. We'll see you guys next time. I think our next cabinet might be Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Probably one of the most anticipated cabinets to date. How did it hold up? We'll get there. Plan on another live stream. Arcade went up in a couple of weeks as a recording of this. A Marvel vs. Capcom 2 stream. Right from this baby.